You know how some nights feel heavier than others? Like the air itself doesn't want you to sleep? That was the kind of night it was. The night she knocked. 3:17 a.m. A time I'll never forget.
It started about a week after I moved into my new place. A small house at the edge of town, quiet, cheap, a little too perfect. I wasn't superstitious, I just wanted peace. The only weird thing was the front door. Old, wooden, with a peephole that didn't quite line up right. The landlord said it had history. That should have been my first warning.
The first few nights were fine, but every morning I'd wake up feeling off, like I'd been awake all night without remembering. Coffee cups moved, the door chain unclipped. I blamed stress. New job, new place, new routine, until the knocking started. It was a Wednesday night. I'd fallen asleep on the couch with the TV still on. Then, 3 knocks. Slow. Heavy. Knock, knock, knock. I thought maybe it was a neighbor or a delivery mix-up, but when I checked my phone, it was 3:17 a.m. No one should have been there. I peeked through the peephole. Nothing. Just darkness. The next morning, I found muddy footprints on my porch. Bare feet. Small ones. I told myself it was a prank. Kids, maybe. But it rained all day, and the prints never washed away.
That night, I double-locked the door, shut every window, and tried to sleep. 3:17 a.m. The knocks came again. This time softer, closer. Like whoever it was had leaned against the door. I froze, didn't move, didn't breathe. After a minute, the sound stopped, and then a whisper. "Let me in." It was a woman's voice, faint, calm. I whispered back, "Who are you?" Silence. I stayed up the rest of the night. When the sun rose, I checked outside again. The footprints were fresh, and now there were 2 sets.
I called the landlord. He sounded uneasy. He said, "You're in Unit 4, right? You should have been told not to answer the door at night." I asked him what that meant. He paused, then said, "Never open it after 3 a.m., especially if you hear knocking." Then he hung up. That night, I slept with the lights on. But something felt wrong, like someone was standing outside again. I kept checking the clock. 3:10, 3:14, 3:17 a.m. 3 knocks, exactly the same. I crept toward the door, phone in hand. I didn't look through the peephole this time. I just waited. Then came the whisper again. "Please, it's so cold." The voice sounded closer, like she was inches away. Then a faint scraping sound against the door, like nails dragging slowly down the wood. I yelled, "Go away!" and everything went silent. I didn't sleep at all after that, but at sunrise, when I finally opened the door, there were fingernail marks on the wood, long, deep ones. And right above the doorknob, a single word carved into the paint. Mine. I started researching. Old news archives, local forums, anything about this house. That's when I found it. A woman named Evelyn Grace had lived here 10 years ago. She went missing at exactly 3:17 a.m. Her body was never found, but neighbors said they heard knocking the night she disappeared. I decided to leave. packed my bags that afternoon, but the moment I tried to start my car, nothing. Battery dead. I went back inside for my charger, and that's when I heard the knock again. 3:17 p.m. this time, middle of the day. 3 knocks, harder than before.
I grabbed a kitchen knife, walked to the door, and yelled, "Who are you? What do you want?" No answer. But then the peephole went dark, like someone was covering it with their hand. And from the other side, I heard her whisper again, "You left me here." I stumbled back. The air turned icy. Every light flickered, and from somewhere behind me, a door creaked open. The bedroom door.
I turned slowly. Inside the bedroom, the mirror was fogged, but written across it, backwards, was the same word again. Mine. I ran. Didn't pack, didn't lock, just ran. I stayed with a friend that night. Told her everything. She laughed, said I'd been watching too many horror videos. But when I looked at her clock later, it was 3:16 a.m. And then We froze. She whispered, "Who would knock on a second-floor window?" I looked, and for a split second, I saw her. A woman's pale face, long black hair, eyes wrong, too wide, too still, and she was smiling. The glass cracked right down the middle. Then the lights went out. When they came back, the cracks were gone, like nothing had happened. But outside, in the reflection, someone was still standing in the yard, looking up at me. I left town the next morning, moved 3 states away, new number, new job, new apartment. No one knows where I live now, and for a while things were quiet. Until last week. I awoke to a sound I hadn't heard in months. 3 knocks. But this time it wasn't on the door. It came from inside my closet. Knock, knock, knock. My phone said 3:17 a.m. I didn't move, didn't breathe. When the sun rose, I opened the closet. Empty, except for one thing, a muddy handprint on the inside of the door. And carved beneath it, 317. I burned that closet door. Didn't care if the neighbors thought I was insane. But that night, while lying in bed, I heard it again. Knock. 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 From under the bed this time. I lifted the blanket slowly and saw a hand, pale, small, sliding back into the darkness, and a whisper that said, "Your turn." The clock on my nightstand flickered. 3:17 a.m. The numbers burned into my eyes. And then I realized something. The knocking never came from outside. It came from wherever she died. And every place I go, she follows. Because when I moved into that house, I didn't just rent it. I inherited her time. Now every night at 3:17 a.m. she knocks. Not to come in, but to remind me that I already let her in once, and she's still waiting for me to answer.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.